This is Steele's turret, or at least what was left of it by sometime in the 1970s, when this photograph was taken. And even this fell down sometime in the 1990s, so there's just rubble there now. Looking at the map, it's located a little to the southwest on a hilltop beside Cullan Lake and near the village of Kilkishen. There's the 1842 Ordnance Survey map showing Steele's turret and the height of the hill at 335 feet. The turret would have originally looked identical to this one at Dromoland, and the two turrets together would have dominated the landscape of Mid-Clare. If we look at Steele's turret, it would have been the highest object in an area of about 350 square kilometres. And immediately to the west, the similar turret in Dromoland would have had about 500 square kilometres of sky in its catchment area. I've mapped these approximate catchment areas away to the points where the ground is higher than the hills that the turrets are sitting on. Now, the first thing about these turrets is that they are octagonal. And octagonal suggests energy conversion. That is, a conversion of atmospheric electrical energy into another kind of energy. If we look, for example, at a magnetron, there are three favoured designs for magnetrons. And of course, magnetrons are what converts electrical energy into microwave energy, radar energy, and various other transmissible and usable energies. So here we have detail of the three designs which are used in constructing magnetrons, and they are all octagonal. They consist of 8 resonating cavities surrounding a cathode in the centre. And then there's a takeoff point on one of the flat sides of the octagon for energy output. Putting the footprint of the octagonal turret around the magnetron, we can see that the power output will be in the direction of wherever the power was directed to. As we've seen in the video relating to Dromoland, this was the castle in that case, and in the case of the turret, Steele's turret at Cullan, the destination for the power was 27 kilometres to the south. It's Adare Manor. There's one of the earlier photographs of Adare Manor, and if we go to the current overhead satellite image, we can see that everything there was built to align with Steele's turret. That's the red centre line in this image through the gardens and the centre of the building. Note also this building has a pair of octagonal towers there which are 3.5 metres in diameter. They're exactly half the diameter of Steele's turret. This alignment line from Adare Manor to Steele's turret isn't directly north-south. It's 0.85 of a degree east of north-south. Now, as we've seen elsewhere, including at Dromoland, with these octagons, if we go away from the centre out through the points and through the middle of the flat sides, then we expect to reach significant other locations. Almost as if something at these other locations has an impact on the dynamics of what happens within the octagon. Here's an overview of the alignments which are connected with the flat sides of the octagon and the points of the octagon. The first one is Ballyvalley House in Killaloe, which sits at exactly 90 degrees to the line from Adare Manor. There's a line drawing of Ballyvalley House, and on the overview there, the yellow line is the alignment with Steele's turret, line coming in from the west, and the red line is aligned with Blakemount Cemetery, which ties Ballyvalley House in with the castles and historic sites of North Clare. Moving on 45 degrees to the next flat side, if we take a line from Clonfert Cathedral to the circle at Ballinusky, that's Carforia, that line goes through Fenlow Castle, Steele's turret, the island and Cullan Lake, A lake near Leccarrow in Tulla, which is a focal point for a cluster of ring forts which are aligned around that point on the lake, and onwards to Clonfert Cathedral via the church in Aircourt, an old stone church there. That's 7 sites in total on that straight line. Now moving on 90 degrees to the flat side which faces northwest. If we take a line from Steele's Turret out to Dromore Castle near Rouen, that line takes us through the centre of the inauguration mound at Maw Eyre. Now looking at what's aligned if we go out through the points on the octagon of Steele's Turret. First, when we go away to the northwest, through the centre of a ring fort at Coogan, and we hit the old monastery building in Ennistimon. Moving on 45 degrees to the next corner point, that line takes us through a ring fort at Carlohan onto another ring fort at Newgrove. Now, the fort at Newgrove is linked via other forts to Kilnaboy Round Tower and Hag's Head Tower near the Cliffs of Moher. Moving on to the northeast corner, that line takes us to Saor Ciaran Monastery in Offaly, which is an alignment reference for a number of the older monastic buildings in the region. The next corner of the octagon we have an alignment for is the one which takes us to Spillans Tower beside the river at Limerick. Next one goes to Granahan House via a ring fort nearby. And the final one points us to Quirrin Fort. It's one of the old, what we're told are Napoleonic defence structures on the Shannon Estuary. And I'm working on another video which suggests that that's not actually what they were, but that's another story. Now, a lot of architects went to a lot of trouble to make this layout as we see it. And it all suggests energy transmission in straight lines. Take, for example, this church in the village of Connolly between Innis and Milltown Mulbay. Note the arched doorway there where you see the people congregated, and overhead there is this 8-segment rose window. The building is aimed directly at Steele's Turret, which is precisely 27 kilometres away. Now, 27 is one of those numbers in biogeometry and cosmic geometry, which is quite significant. All those numbers that reduce immediately to 9 are significant, but you can research Randall Carlson and Hidden Mathematics is a good place to start on that. Coming back to the rose window, the work of Hans Jenny, who was a Swiss physicist and mathematician, lived through most of the 20th century. He died there in the early 90s, aged in his 90s. His work was on the effects of sound and the way in which sound has a physical effect on people, places and materials. The science is called cymatics, and again, you can research that on your own. The fact that this building is aimed directly at the turret suggests energy transmission in a straight line. We may never know what these turrets were about. Looking at the work of Nikola Tesla and Wardenclyffe Tower and his experiments there, we know that static electricity or etheric energy is a thing and is something which can be captured and retransmitted. Maybe this was a system that was in place in the past. Do feel free to share this, and if you have any ideas, do let me know. Thank you.